hopefully you can see it all. I don't know how far up the screen you can see to. Okay, I'm going to have to stay within the glass mat boundaries. I've got my phone in a strange angle because I've got my sound plugged in. Okay, so I'm going to have to hook that over something, otherwise it'll be in shot more than me. So if you can see something dangling in the bottom left hand corner, it's my wire. Okay, I'll get that back out of the way. Okay, so today we are, so remember this is where we're taking our inspiration from. So we're trying to replicate something like this, but something a bit different, and then Dave's going to have to think about getting an Etsy store to sell all the stuff on it, because I want to get my kitchen done, and I could do with some money, and also I'm running out of space to keep all this stuff that I make. Okay, so this is here at the moment just to kind of block out the light that's shining to give us a bit of light. Okay, I've tested my Wi-Fi today, so hopefully we won't get cut off, and we're going to finish doing this. So we made the outer on the first one, then we did this, this. Let's move that out of the way. That was just there to stop it sticking together. I finished doing this on Facebook, on my YouTube. So I've been doing little bits. So for every one that I do live, I do another one, which is a continuation of finishing something off, maybe decorating it a bit, just so that you're aware that, you know, that's there and that's uploaded to my YouTube channel. So this is what else we made. So we made that last week, and I believe that we did that actually on air. So not on hair, because that'd be really bad because I don't have any. So and so what we're going to do is going to make something for here. Now in this original one, Dave's just tied it up, which is ridiculous because like we need it open now. I made this little concertina wallet, so expanding wallet, and we're going to make something a bit similar to that. We're going to make it a little bit different though. It's not going to be exactly the same, because it's all about winging it and crafting and having a bit of fun, isn't it? So let's tie that back up again, Dave. I'll probably have to undo it again in a minute. So what I'm planning is, so I was thinking about making something about this sort of size to go here, and I was thinking maybe having like a pen holder in it, but then I've kind of changed my mind, as you do, and I'm thinking we're going to have it this way round. Okay, so it'd be a bit small if it's this way round, so I'm thinking about going up to about here and maybe having a bit of a tuck pocket in there for like a, you know, a journal card or something like that. Okay, so what are we going to use to make that? Well, I'm going to keep that out because I'm going to need to use that as a reference for size. So what can you use? Anybody get some of these? Do you ever get, by the way, I love these on here. I always tear those off. They go in journals and all sorts of things. Do you ever get one of these from this place? Okay, you can use this card. So lots of people go out trying to buy craft card, etc. You've probably got craft card that comes through your door on a daily basis. And remember, we're making a junk journal, so we can make it out of anything we like. So we could use this. Okay, so you just open it up. If you hear anything in the background, Brian's just come to join me. Well, he's not joining me, he's come to craft next to me. So you could use this. This is craft card, that's what it is basically. You could use one of those envelopes. They're nice because they're a nice thick board. Or anybody get any 12 by 12 papers and you kind of think you liked it at the time, the kind of thing, it suited the kind of thing you were doing, but then there's things that you think, oh, I don't know what I'd do with that. Well, this is my pad of exactly that. So I'm going to make mine out of this. Okay, so tear it out. Didn't have my breakfast this morning, clearly couldn't tear that out. So okay, so I'm gonna make mine out of this. Now this is slightly thinner than this, than this card. Okay, but the reason why I'm doing it with this is because it's much easier for me to handle while I'm live. trying to do it with that stuff would be a bit more difficult, and I'm just trying to make my life a little bit easier. Okay, so now I've got to think about how big do I want it. Okay, so I am going to get a ruler, which is always a good idea because I'm not very good at guessing. Okay, so I'm thinking I kind of want it to be I think I'm going to have it about 17 centimeters, okay, which is approximately 6 and something. 6 and 3/4 inches, roughly. Okay, I'm really bad at the inches side of things. I don't know what the little increments are. The 16ths and 8ths, and I never, know. And obviously, I do know when I think about it, but I don't when I don't. Okay, so I can't even remember what I just said. What did I just say? 17 centimeters. Okay, so I'm going to need to make sure that my piece of card is 17 centimeters long. Okay, so it's getting a bit cramped in here. Okay, so I've kind of prepped things, got things out and ready for the stuff that we're going to do. And I need to find my guillotine or my paper trimmer, one of the two. Dave, somewhere? Do you have one? Oh, it might be here. Okay, so it's a good job we've decided that we're doing it in centimetres, because this only does inches, which, Dave, you just said it was 6, and we're going to do it 6 3/4 inches to make it easier. Right, I could do with a real good paper trimmer that actually measures, that does things in both. This is a lovely paper trimmer, don't get me wrong, but it doesn't do it in both centimetres and inches. So 6 3/4 inches. Okay, so I'm just going to cut that there. Okay, so that is going to be roughly the width of it. Yep, that's brilliant. Okay. I'm going to put that away for a moment. So, are you with me, or are you with the woolage? That's showing my age there, Dave. Okay, so because I don't measure things. I don't like have a scientific. This is the sizes you're going to need. I kind of work with what I've got and the space that I have, if you understand what my meaning. Okay, so when you're making one of these file folders, you have to think that the front edge is always shorter than the back edge. Okay, and that's so that you have a nice fold over at the top. Sorry, the snuffling you can hear in the background is Worcester's just come in to have a bit of a I want to be famous. So well, so anyway, brain is not working now. So you're going to have the shorter front edge. I'm not sure whether I'm making sense here. So what you've got to think about is this is the shorter front edge, because if you're looking through one of those concertina wallets, the front edge is always shorter, so you can see what's in there. Yeah. You also got to think about, you need to have like a gusset. Okay, so a thicker bottom. It's got to have a flat bottom. Okay, not like me. The back is slightly longer. Okay, I have a curved edge on the top. Okay, and then I have a short flap at the front. Okay, which has just been edged with a bit of detail on this one. So you've got to think about, if you had your front the same width as this fold out, then it's going to stick out. Okay, so you just got to think about, how much do I need? So I just eye it. It's about just eyeballing the whole thing. Okay, so this is our fold here. Okay, so I want to keep it away from the fold so there's a bit of space. Okay, and I'm thinking that we're doing it in inches, aren't we, Dave? I'm thinking probably 3 inches. Okay, so the other thing you need to think about is you cannot have it any deeper than this is. Okay, because otherwise it will alligator. That's what alligator mouthing is, basically. When something doesn't shut flush, it does this. Okay, so I've said 3 inches. Okay, oh, smash! I'm having a smashing time now, and I need to get my scoreboard. And the names in the frames and the scores on the doors are, okay, not that kind of scoreboard, Dave. Okay, where are we? What did I just say? It was inches, wasn't it? That's this side, Dave. It's a bit glittery. I don't know where the glitter came from, because I'm not a big fan of glitter, so I haven't used the glitter. Okay, now you have to remember that you've got to think about what size do you want to be on the outside, okay? And when I've done this before with you, I've talked about valleys and valleys and mountains. Okay, so I'm just going to reiterate that, just for those people that haven't got a clue what I'm talking about. So here's a plain piece of card. Okay, if I score at 1 inch, doesn't matter where I'm scoring. If I'm scoring this way, you're making a valley, so you're pushing it down. Okay, but which means that this is your outer, because a valley becomes a mountain when you fold it over. So that's now a mountain, and that's the best way to remember. So if I scored a line like this, okay, then bending it that way is wrong, bending it that way is right. So it's currently a valley, it becomes a mountain. Does that make sense to people? I just think that was just a kind of blew my mind kind of realization. That's how you remember which bit you're doing. Okay, so because I'm having this, so this is going to be a valley that I'm making, so I've decided that this is going on the inside. Okay, so I want to find my 3-inch line, and I'm going to score down here. Okay, I hope I'm making sense, because to me I make absolute perfect sense, but to you guys possibly not. Okay, so I'm not going to fold it just yet. Okay, I want to think about how deep do I want it. So I've made the front bit, so this first bit, and I now need to think about how deep do I need it to be. Okay, so it is just over, just over 3/4 of an inch. 1, 2, 3, 3/8 of an inch. I can hear Brian in the background, so I don't know what he's hovering for. So I need to make 3/8 of an inch. Well, that's not very good, is it? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. So 3/8 of an inch is 1, 2, 3. Sorry about this, folks. I don't do inches normally. So I'm going to score down here. Don't press too hard, because if you press too hard, all you're going to do is push right through the paper that you're doing. So, okay, so that is going to be the fold at the bottom. Yep, that's to create my bottom. It's not to create my bottom. That would never be big enough. Okay, so this is going to be the back. So we know that it needs to be at least 3 centimeters. Sorry, no, 3 inches. Yeah, but it needs to be a bit longer, but it cannot be any longer than the bit that we've got to work with. Okay, possibly not making the most sense today. So we've got 4.5 inches easy to work area to work within. So if I do 4.25, okay, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to fold this now. Become a mountain, valleys become a mountain. See, even though I have to do it in my head, valleys become a mountain. Nope. Except the valleys become a mountain and they have to be straight, Dave. So there you go. Don't worry if you make a mistake and you fold it badly like I did. It's a junk journal. It's all part of the charm, isn't it? It shows that it's handmade, it's not mass produced. Okay, so I want it to be 4.25, which takes us to about there. I don't think that's quite accurate, but there. Okay, so that's going to be my back. Yeah. And then what we want is, we also want to have, now you see on this one here, I have this nice rolled top here. So I don't know if you can see that on the camera. We've got a nice rolled top, and that's literally just created by scoring at every one of these marks. Now I actually did it on this one, which is also an inch board. I think scoring every millimetre might be too much, so if you're doing it in centimetres, just have to think about it. It might be every couple of centimetres. Every half a centimetre is going to be too big, so just have a think about it. Okay, so you might want to actually flip over the board and use the inch side. Okay, so I'm going to score at every one of these lines now to create that roll top. Oh, that's the same line, Dave. And I'm not going to tell you how many to do, because it's entirely up to you. It kind of gives you a bit of a feel. Now I do try to do at least 3/4 of an inch. Okay, so you've got these successive lines, and that's what that's going to do, is that's going to give you a nice roll at the top. Okay, so do you remember when you used to buy those concertina wallets? They used to have a nice roll at the top. Now they're all just like plastic, so you don't get the roll that you used to. Trust me, I've got a roll on top. I haven't got a flat bottom though. So not yet, still losing weight, so like, who knows. Okay, so you can, if you just kind of just shape it into place, you can have a look at it and see whether you like it. Do you like how it looks? Is it giving you enough of a roll? I think that's absolutely fine. Double check that it fits in the space that you've got. Yep, it does, absolutely, no issues there. Okay, and all I'm going to say is your flap that comes down, you've got to think about, you want to fasten it somehow. Okay, so how are you going to fasten it? You might want a big flap like this, or you might want a shorter flap. Okay, so how much overlap do you want? Well, I'm thinking, if you look at it side on, you can see your overlap. So this is your front, and this is how much overlap you've got. And I'm thinking maybe I want maybe an inch worth. Okay, and then that gives you a bit of space for if it starts to bulge a little over time. Well, that certainly happens to me. I'll bulge a little over time. So I'm just going to put a mark. You would put a mark if you could find a pen or a pencil. Oh no, found one. So I'm just going to put a mark as to where it comes to, roughly. Okay, so just so that I reference point for me. Okay, and I want it to be cut off at an inch. Now what I'm going to do is, I know that I'm not cutting with this board. This is not I'm not going to cut down on this board. What I'm going to do is I'm going to use that line as a reference, and I'm going to put a line in where I want to cut. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to give it a bit of a fancy edge. Okay, so I'm going to get rid of this. Trying not to knock everybody out. Okay, pop that over there. If you hear a crash, it's because it's just fallen off the wall. Okay, and what I'm going to do is I'm going to make it a fancy edge, so like a decal edge to it. So these are scissors, a bit like pinking shears. I do have a pair that are the pinking shear variety, which make the zigzag edge. Okay, I find zigzags, if you're going to zigzag on this, they just get damaged. The points just damage. You know what a point of a book ends up like? It goes all fluffy and chewed looking. Okay, whereas I'm going to use the round bit of this. Okay, so all I'm going to do is I'm going to use that line as a guide. Okay, now don't get all het up about it. Okay, but just try and line up every time you cut. The same with pinking shears. Every time you cut down, try and line it back up next time you do it. Okay. Okay, hopefully you kind of catching my drift. Man. Catch my drift, man. So, except for Dave, have you given yourself... I think I've cut too much off. I've definitely cut too much off. But you know what? I've made a mistake, and I bet I know one thing. You will make a mistake as well. But you know what? If you make a mistake, So what? There's ways to There's ways to remedy it. Okay, so you could stick another bit of decorative card on. Okay, that's not long enough though. So what I'm going to use, a bit of file folder. Just nearly garrotted myself with my own microphone wire then. So, okay, so it was all going so well, wasn't it? So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to cut this off. Except for David. I keep telling myself, don't cut on the glass mat because it really blunts your blades. So I tried to use one of these self-healing mats. Okay. So I think I've already blunted my blade. Okay, so I'm just going to cut a bit of this off. Not worried about what it looks like or anything like that at the minute. Does that come off? Yep, that's off. Right, okay. I've made the mistake, so you don't have to, but if you do, don't panic. Okay, so how wide is this? I did say how wide it was before. 6 3/4 inches. So we need to cut this at 6 3/4 inches. So let's make sure we've got a squared off edge first. Before you start cutting, if you hear anything in the background, it's Brian making a noise. So, which is the bit edge that I've just cut. That's the edge I've just cut, Dave. So, it's really hard to do this without putting your head in the way of the camera. So, I'm going to have to put my head in the way of the camera. I'm really sorry, folks. Right, I'm just going to make sure that I make it nicely squared off. I've just seen my own head in the camera. I'm really sorry. I know it looks like I look like a baby chicken. I've only got a few like wisps of hair, but that's what happens as you get older. Well, that's what happens as you get older for some men, not all men, and some women, but not all women. So all I'm going to do is I'm just going to kind of square this off. Now this, by the way, just so you know, all this is quilting ruler. So oh Dave, that was a really bad cut there. So it's just a quilting ruler. It's just kind of gives you a bit more of a way to square things off. Okay. So yeah, so I want to cut that at 6 3/4 inches. What are you doing, Dave? I have no idea what I'm doing now. Okay, yeah, 6 3/4 inches. This could go horribly wrong. I will just point out, folks. So you saw it here first, live. Not at the Apollo, but live in Batley. Dave makes a big boo-boo again. Live from the cemetery, as Brian has just said. I live near a cemetery, so like it's so all I've done is I've kind of extended this edge with something that's a bit decorative. Okay, so I'm kind of happy with that. I don't know whether you are, but you know what, it's mine. I don't care. Brian's making a right noise in the background. Apparently he's trying to clear space, because literally all I've done today is everything that I'd had around me here I've just thrown over there. So it's not around me. So all I'm going to do is I'm going to just round off the edges, just so they don't go fluffy like I talked about. You know, when the edges kind of fray, it really, I just don't like how that goes. So sorry if I've kind of like stopped talking because I'm concentrating. I had my tongue out for a moment there. Okay, so all I'm going to do is I'm going to extend this edge here by putting this on, because I cut too much off. Oh well, you never know. It might happen to you. So now I'm just going to stick this on here. I'm going to Yeah, okay, so I'm just going to use something strong. If you're going to extend anything, you think about it's going to be opening and closing and tucking things in, and there's an opportunity that it could like break. That's a technical term, break. So, how much do you want to show, Dave? About like that. I'll do. I think that'll do. Right, flip it over. Got get a bit of a reference point. Okay, it's got to start about there. All I'm doing is giving myself like somewhere where I can give myself a guide of where I'm going to put glue, so I don't get too much on it. Okay, now because I've decaled the edge, kind of make sure that it goes up to the edge, but don't try and go in all of those round bits. I'm not sure whether you can hear Worcester in the background growling. He's growling at all of the people going past. How dare they go past the house on a Sunday? How dare people go for a walk without consulting him as well? That's the big thing. You didn't consult him. Grumpy. He's very grumpy. Well, he is today anyway. Okay, I'm just going to straighten it off here. I'm just doing it by eye. You know, you could measure this bit. I'm not going to. I'm not worried too much about it. Okay, I'm just going to go with that. I realise it sticks out a little bit there, and I will cut that bit off when he finds a pair of scissors. Ruster's now coming in to tell me how dreadful it is that people have walked past the house. Get off my land. That's what he's basically saying. It's not yours. So there we go. So we've got a flap, a banana yellow flap. So bananas in pyjamas. Oh, bananas with a deckled edge, and it's going to go in there. It's going to have a rounded top, and we've now got to think about how we're going to fasten it. Okay, I realise I haven't put the sides in yet, but the fastening is, you need to think about that before you start gluing it all together, because it's too late after that point. Okay, so Worcester's grumbling. While Worcester's grumbling, I will try and sort this out. Okay, so I am going to have I'm going to put a hole in with my. Now you could use a paper punch. You can use you can buy these off eBay for very cheap. Remember, you can use a paper punch. You don't have to go out and buy expensive kit. Spend the money on the things that you see, not on the things that you don't. Okay, so because my eyeballing today clearly isn't working, this is obviously because it's the start of like my migraine is really starting to kick in now. So half of 17, this could go horribly wrong, is 8.5. Yeah, we agreed. Yes. Good. Okay. So it's 8.5, and so what I'm going to do is I'm going to make a hole, not a mole, but a hole. Okay, I'm going to make a hole in there at the 8.5 mark, except for he's lost it. Like, trust me, I have lost it. Okay, so I've made a hole there. Okay, and then also I want to put one in this here. So the easiest way, okay, is line it up. Okay. So that it fits, and put a dot in the centre of that hole that you just made, and then you can use that as a reference point for when you're doing this side. Okay, so how am I going to have it fastening? Okay, so what I want to do is I want to make some of those little round things that you wind string round. If you don't know what I mean, you will do hopefully in a few minutes. Okay, so I need it to be down here. Okay, so let's just see, does that kind of line up with that? Maybe a little bit over there. Okay, because I can't do that with this because the reach isn't there. Okay, I am going to put that to one side, and I'm going to get my anywhere bore. I can bore people anywhere. So I'm just going to go over the Still got stuff in from the last time I used it. Over the hole. Because I'm trying to do it on camera, my hands are shaking. There we go. I've made a hole. Okay, if it doesn't line up, don't panic too much about it. Okay. So now what we need to do is we need to make the fasteners. Okay, so I mean, some of you have no idea what I'm doing now, do you? But that's fine. We can cope with that. So I'm going to make the fasteners in a completely different colour now, because like I can and I will. Or should I do it in the same colour? I don't know. No, I'm going to go. I'm just doing it. I'm winging it. So make a hole in that and make a hole. Okay. So I would suggest that you use two glued together, because they're just a bit more sturdy that way. Where did the other one go? No idea. Where is it? Oh, they're all there. It's a car crash today, isn't it? So don't try and put that back in, Dave, because what you're going to need to do is glue them together. Okay, so I'm just going to glue these two together. So give my glue a shake to get it down. Right. So I'm going to glue these two pieces together, like I say. Okay, and you don't need a load of glue on. You know what I'm like about glue. You don't need loads of it. You just need enough to glue it together, and that's it. Not so much that it all squeezes out the side. Okay. And then give it a bit of a wiggle so that you're kind of smoothing out all of that glue. Do that. And then somewhere Dave had a peg or something to hold it together. I'll just use a bulldog clip instead. Okay, do the same for this. And again, just enough to glue it together, but not so much it squeezes out. And then glue those two rounds together as well. Okay, if you've got any writing on it, don't worry about it. Very often on those file folders, they have like writing on the back, or the manufacturer or whatever. If you've got that on it, don't worry about it. It kind of adds to that kind of look, that utilitarian kind of look to it. Okay, so, and I'm going to put that one in the bulldog clip as well to hold them both together. Okay, so what else can we do? Okay, so let's move that out of the way, because we've used that as the reference for now. Okay, hopefully that's not shining in your eyes now. And what we need is we need to have the sides on. We need to put the sides on. Okay, so what am I going to use now? You can use whatever you like. You could use just some plain paper. I would suggest you use paper rather than card. You could use a bit of the inside of an old envelope. I think I'm going to use some of my green book paper because I like it so much. Although if I keep using it, I won't have any left. That's got a nice picture and I can't use that. So I'll use some green book paper if I can find one without any pictures on. That'll do. Maybe that one. No, that one. So if you're all screaming at me now because I'm cutting up the one with the lighthouse on, tough. It's mine. I can do what I like. Okay, so I'm going to have to. You've got to now make. You're basically making a concertina like this to go down the side of it. Okay, but you're gonna. It's all starting to get a bit crafter's desk now around here, where you've just got so much stuff in the wings. Okay, so I am going to have it at. So I don't want my concertina to come all the way up to the top. So I think I'm going to have it on 2 7/8, just to make things really confusing. when you're measuring, Dave. Just make it like extra difficult for yourself, Dave. So get my I've just like caught myself on my own wire there. Okay, let's move some of these things out of the way, otherwise something's going to go horribly wrong. Somebody's going to lose an eye. I might need a safety net. Okay. So I can't find the bin, so I've kind of just thrown it in the general direction, and it might not actually have gone in the bin. So, okay, let's open this up. Okay, so I've just said, so you guys can't tell me. That's the problem. 2 7/8. 2. Oh, I don't know. Is that 2 and 2 7/8? The reason why you don't want it to come right up to the top is it's more likely to tear that way. Okay, so I want it to be 2 7/8. 2. Well, that's useful because the 3 is can't even be seen. We'll say about there. See, I didn't like chop the lighthouse up completely. There's still a light in the dark. So what you're going to need is, again, I'm not going to tell you there's no rhyme or reason to how I do this, but I score these at every third one of these notches, whatever they are, in inches. So 1, 2, 3. Try and put it in there, Dave. Okay, so you're not worrying too much about this being valleys and folds and that sort of thing, because this is paper. So 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. I don't know why I've stopped counting out loud. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. 2, 3. I really like doff my cap to those people that can use inches in a more logical way. But I just use them as lines, really. So, except for you, Dave, you've just gone through the paper. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. Normally I wouldn't be counting out loud, but if I can't speak to you while I'm I can't count and talk. That's like you're pushing it. I'm just about being able to breathe and do this, so like I'm gonna have to move this up now. You all thought I was holding my breath, didn't you? So you're all impressed that I'm actually breathing at the same time. So 1, 2, 3. Is that the right one? 3. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. I feel that there should be a drum roll while I do this. 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. Brian's doing a drum roll for me. I feel like I'm doing this without a safety net now. Like there should be a symbol when I've finished. 1, 2, 3. Oh dear. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. It feels like a bit like you're doing the foxtrot, isn't it? 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. Okay, so now all we're going to do is we're going to fold these lines up. So in a concertina fashion, so a zigzag, accordion style, whatever term you use. So you're folding it forwards and back, forwards and back, forwards and back. So it's not the most interesting of TV, I will just say. So talk amongst yourselves. Perhaps you should have the music from Vision on this. Do 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 do. Okay, no, that's enough of that now. So I'm just going to go forwards and back across all of this. Okay. Hopefully you're all with me. You understand what I'm doing. I can't see any of your comments. I'm really sorry. I forgot to put the comments thing on my iPad. So my iPad is kind of in my peripheral vision, but I can't really see what's going on. So okay, Brian is now like supplying the. What is that?
It's from Vision on.
Is it?
It's Morph doing something.
Oh right, well I'm not Morph, so I've kind of gone a bit Pete Tong on my. Yeah, it sounds about the calamity that I'm kind of going through at the moment. So I can't fold to that beat, Brian. It's putting the pressure on.
This is the opening music to Vision on.
Oh, I remember Vision on. If you're not from the UK or don't live in the UK, sorry, then you probably don't know what Vision on is. So look it up. Go on Google.
Hello. The theme for today's programme is weight.
Is weight, yeah, literally. After like not losing anything at Fat Club yesterday, is weight. Thanks for that, Brian.
God, I haven't seen that opening sequence for so long.
I'm sure it changed. I'm sure it was a different tune
It
later on.
It got a bit slicker.
Okay, so there we go. It did go a little bit awry in some places here. They don't line up, but you know what? I don't care. You knew I was going to say that, though, didn't you? So what I'm thinking is you always need to end in the same place as you start. So if you start with a downward facing cut off, you should also end in a downward facing cut off. You'll see what I mean. It makes no sense. It didn't make any sense in my brain after I'd said it. So just think about how many folds. You kind of want to give it a nice bit of a ability to fold out. I'm going to go for how many mountains have I got? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15. I've got 15. Well, of course I would, because it's never going to go be accurate and be like an even number, is it? So I've got 15. So I'm going to cut one of them off, because that then takes that out of the equation. So Dave's going to just remove his thumb. I'm only doing it like this because the scissors are there. Okay, so now I've got 16. No, if I've had 15, I cut one off. I don't have 16. 14.
14.
1, 2. It's like Sesame Street now, isn't it? So 1 ha, 2 ha ha, 3 ha ha ha. Sorry, count. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. So. And then that should be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Why is that wrong? There then. Oh, 7. That's why. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Yeah. So I've got a cut in there. I'm really sorry, folks. But welcome to my world. This is how my brain works sometimes. It's just it's just what it is. It is what it is, and it's not what it isn't. So. There we go. Not very tidy. I'll trim them off in a second when I've just located that pair of scissors that I thought I could see. Just going to trim that off just to make it nice and straight. You're not really going to see this. It's going to be stuck inside. That's all right. Yeah, that's all right. Okay, so Northern Ireland just got cut off. Although it's quite apt, really, considering the way that Brexit's going. So okay, so these are going to make our sides. Yeah, is this all making sense? Hopefully it is. Okay, so I might have to finish this on my part 6A video, because I'm probably not going to get this done on live. So this circle punch is 1 inch. Okay, so if you put this in one of the inch squares, yeah, you can kind of judge where the middle is. Okay, so again, find the middle of that square. So you could use that square there. So this whole white square here is 1 inch. So put it within the perimeter of that square, and then where the lines cross over, that's about your middle. Okay, if it's not accurate, don't have a panic about it. Okay, so Dave put things out of the way and then moved them out of the way of himself. Okay, so I think actually they need to be a bigger hole. Right, where are my brads? Brad, Janet, Brad, Janet.
Okay.
So I've got loads of like brads, some like little fluted ones and all sorts of like things. So do I want something that's like colourful? Is it going to be a bit gimmicky if I go too colourful? Brian, are you snorting at me?
Now I've got lines from the film stuck in.
Oh right, sorry. I thought he was laughing at the fact that I was like thinking it was going to look too gimmicky. Like you've already passed that point.
Yeah.
Okay, no.
The usual film quotes.
So I'm going to use one of these in here. So I keep all my brads together. So I'm going to use a couple of silver ones, I think, because they're easier to find. There you go, a couple of silver ones. Okay. I'll put those over here. If you hear a crash in a minute, then they've all fallen on the floor and I've got to pick them up in a minute. So, is that the right? No, that's the right hole, I think. Okay, so I'm just going to make a hole in this. You lining up. I'm sorry, but you can. If I do it like that, so you can see, I can't see. So it could go horribly wrong. I think that's the middle. Oh, it'll do. It's not quite in the middle, but hey. I feel like I've just like, shot. Okay, so again, make a hole in that one. Great. Okay, so these are going to go over the top of here. Okay, and you're going to have to like pinch them together. Now this, I don't know whether this. Hopefully this is going to reach, because it's going to be a bit tragic if it doesn't. So I'm going to put this one on because this one will reach. Put my brad through it. Oh dear, it's the wrong size hole. Just excuse me a moment while I make my holes a bit bigger. Okay, that's a bigger hole. That one, and a bigger hole on this one. And hopefully they'll go through now. Oh, they do. There we go. Perfect. Okay, so I'm going to put my brad through there, and then I never remember which one's the top. That's the top, and that's the bottom. So this does the pinching bit at this very end. So it's all because it's all live. Nothing's gonna like. It's not gonna behave. That's what it's not going to do. So all I need to do is line it up so hopefully you can see that. Okay, and then I pinch the two bits together. Okay, and then what that does is that flattens the back off, and it gives you that little bit there that you're going to hook your thread round. So again, you're going to do it on this side. Now on this side, I'm thinking that there isn't enough of a reach on that. There isn't. So I am going to have to think of a different way. I might have to fold this down just to be able to do it. And I know you're all going, no, don't do that. I'm going to have to, folks. So, you know, I can always put it back up again and put a facing panel on the inside so that it doesn't ruin the look. Okay, again, if the holes are too small. It doesn't reach. It doesn't reach. But you know, these things are going to happen, aren't they? They're happening to me. They're definitely going to happen to you. So, oh no, put it in the right way round, Dave. Screw it back up again. I've got a hair up my nose as well. That's not helping. So, hover over the hole. Hover over the hole, and there you go. Done. This one I can do with my trusty gimmick, gadget, whatever it is. That's the wrong hole, isn't it? There you go. Just thinking, hang on, that's exactly the same size. There we go. Put that over there and find that Brad. Janet! Brad, sorry. every time it goes through my head.
Rocket. And I can break it.
Okay, Brian is quoting. Brian, if you ask him any lines from any film, he'll be able to quote them. I'm sure he knows all of them.
Just odd ones, they get stuck in my head. Just ones I've watched a lot.
So pop this over like I did last time and then squeeze it together, and there we go. Oh, squeeze it together and then try and get it to come apart. Why is it not coming apart? Oh, because we've got it caught in the mechanism, Dave. Okay, so there we go. So now we've got the two bits to be able to wind it together. We've got this bit of a line, but you know, these things are sent to try us, and you know, we're crafters, we are resilient, we bounce back from everything. So we've got 5 minutes to go. Blimey, 5 minutes, no pressure. Okay, so what you're going to need to think about is they need to both go in the same way. So if you end on a valley, so the raw bit is down, it needs to be the same on both sides. And the reason for that is these are going to be the bits where you are going to stick your dividers to. Okay, so we're going to have a divider inside, just like we did with this one. Well, I did with this one. We didn't. I did this all on my own without a safety net and everything. So in this one, I used a magnet on this one. Okay, but in this one, just like I've got here, we've got these file divider bits. These are all stuck to the side panels of these concertina things. So I'm going to have to say, you can find more information on doing that, because I'm going to continue doing this. I'm going to stop doing the live, and then I'm going to start the video again so that I continue doing it, and that's going to get uploaded to my YouTube. This also gets uploaded to my YouTube as well. So I'm going to have to end it there, because like, we have run out of time. Who knew? Who knew? Okay, but next time you see this, if you don't watch my YouTube, next time you see this, you will find that we've finished it, hopefully. Okay, or I've lost a limb and I'm now spending 6 weeks in casualty. So I'm going to have to say goodbye for today. I'll see you next time. Okay, thank you very much for joining me. Thank you very much for coming along with me. Hopefully you've been able to hear me. Hopefully the mic is working better and the sound is much clearer. You know, let me know what you think. And you know, don't let me know if you don't think anything. So anyway, I'll shut up, Dave. All right, so I'll leave that there. You all have a lovely day, evening, afternoon, morning, whatever time it is with you. Thank you for watching me. I'm Dash of Dave. Remember, I love you all without exception until you give me a reason not to. And I will see you all next time. Thank you very much. Mwah, mwah, mwah. I will bid you farewell and see you anon. Take care. Big crafty hugs. Thanks, folks. Bye. 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 And I'm gonna find the button to end this finish.